Trevor, and today I'm going to review a thing. If you've been with me long enough, you'll know that one of my favorite shows is Lab Rats. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, that stupid little Disney Channel show with the really bad effects, the bad comedy. Well, shut up! Maybe the comedy's a little rough, but when you get past all the stuff that you consider bad, it can actually be a pretty awesome show. I've expressed that the reason why I like Lab Rats is because it's one of the only Disney shows, besides Gravity Falls, that actually attempts to kill their main characters. I was never really a big fan of Lab Rats when it first aired. I thought it was just another one of those cheesy Disney Channel sitcoms where the characters had a secret and then they just lived their life as normal people. But as the show went on, it got more darker and darker, and we got to learn more about the Lab Rats' origins. We got to learn more about the family around them. The show just got a little more intense as each villain was introduced one by one, and it got a bit serious at the end. Now, because for some reason every Disney Channel show that makes it up to their 4th season has to make that their last season for some reason. No other Disney Channel show has gone past 5 seasons. The creators of Lab Rats obviously, I guess, weren't done telling the story, and seeing that their crossover with Mighty Med did very well, that gave them the idea to merge the two popular shows together and create somewhat what people can consider the 5th season of Lab Rats, but not confirmed 5th season. Better yet, a spin-off of Lab Rats Elite Force. If you watched my series finale review of Lab Rats The Vanishing, you'll know I was very hesitant about how this spin-off was going to work. I've expressed my love for Lab Rats multiple times, but I never really talked about Mighty Med. I would throw it here and there in a conversation, and it was an alright show, but it annoyed me to a point. Mighty Med isn't anything like Lab Rats, and in fact, it's actually the opposite of Lab Rats, where Lab Rats focuses on bionic heroes and Mighty Med focuses on superheroes. It focuses on these two kids, Kaz and Oliver, discovering a hidden superhero hospital where if superheroes get hurt, they're instantly put into this hospital where they'll get better. It's a hospital for injured superheroes. That's pretty clever. The idea and characters were all very clever, but the thing that bothered me about the show was the comedy. Of course, a show like this, where it could be very serious and dark, had to be a sitcom for some reason with a fake laugh track, and they like to use that laugh track and even jokes at all the wrong times. Joke after joke after joke after joke, it was all just one big joke, seeing a joke from the beginning all the way to the end. There was rarely any moment in the show where they were serious. Even at times when there was a serious situation, like one of their main characters almost dying because she was poisoned, I mean, there was a full minute where there was no laugh track or jokes because this was a serious issue, but right after it happened, they went back into the jokes. And I mean, that joke in specific was somewhat funny. Some of the jokes can be funny in the show, but there are just times where it just wasn't needed. Specifically the character Gus. I never really liked the character Gus. I'm sure the kid that plays him is a really cool guy. I'm sure he's funny on his own, but the character Gus just really pissed me off. So that was really my one concern about Lab Rats and Mighty Med colliding to make one big show. I thought because Lab Rats was more of a serious tone, also funny show, merging with a 100% comedy show, I thought that would tone down the seriousness. But surprisingly, it didn't. The main plot of Lab Rats Elite Force mostly picks up from when we last saw Donald, Chase, and Bree from the Lab Rats series finale. Mighty Med has been destroyed by 2 unknown superheroes, and somewhere between Space Colony and The Vanishing, Kaz and Oliver contact Donald to see if they could use any of his technology to track down these superheroes that did this to Mighty Med and killed most of their friends. And then Donald had an idea that he would definitely help Kaz and Oliver find the people that did these to his friends, but instead of giving them the technology where they could track these people down, Donald had an idea to combine bionic heroes with superheroes and make one big elite force, so this way they can get revenge on the death of all these people. And the plot is actually pretty intense when you hear it better. Not from me, but maybe from Donald saying it. There's one thing I like about this plot. It's that Mighty Med was destroyed. And no, it's not because I didn't like Mighty Med. Mighty Med is an okay show. But I like the fact that Mighty Med was destroyed because it toned down the comedy and goofiness of Kaz and Oliver, especially Kaz even. Kaz was a big goofball and a very irresponsible person back in Mighty Med. But because of this horrible incident that happened to most of his friends and somewhat even his job, he has toned down the goofiness and is now 100% serious. So much that in the first episode he got in an argument with Chase that he wanted to do his own thing to track these people down that killed his friends. The show's characters are pretty well set up. I'm actually kind of glad they don't have Adam in this because I don't think Adam would have coped with how serious of an issue this was. Not saying that Adam isn't serious, but Adam's not bright. And Leo probably would have just, stolen the show a lot. But it's a good line of characters, and so far in the show, we've seen multiple Lab Rats characters return, like obviously Donald, and Douglas returned, and even Principal Perry, and we're said that Tasha's gonna return, and I don't know, maybe Adam and Leo will make an appearance in the show, hopefully. The new Davenport baby is supposed to make an appearance along with Tasha, but we haven't really seen any Mighty Med characters, and I kind of want to see that, even though Mighty Med isn't my favorite. We've also been introduced into some new characters, including the two new bad guys, Roman and Riker, who actually destroyed Mighty Med. All because Kaz and Oliver saved their father's life, but had to take his powers away or else he'll die. They're basically just doing it for revenge. Yeah. Now, prior to this recording, only 7 episodes have aired for this show. A new episode is supposed to air at the end of next month, but seeing that we got the 7 episodes so far, I thought I'd just quickly jump in and talk about each episode one by one and kind of give an overall view on how I liked it, didn't like it, and also my general opinion on how the show is so far at this point. So in the first episode, The Rise of 5, I thought it was a great introduction to all the characters again, kind of. I guess it was a good introduction to the Mighty Med characters. If you were following from the Lab Rats side and never really watched Mighty Med, I think they introduced the Mighty Med characters pretty well. I think everybody worked pretty well together. I think everyone was having a great time working together even. I like that there was a little drama between Chase and Kaz, like I said earlier. And I definitely think the villains, Roman and Riker, are really badass. These guys have obviously worked on the special effects for this show and the locations so hard. I actually appreciate that they put a lot of work into this because those effects look really awesome. In the second episode, we focus more on Oliver trying to master his superpower because he's not quite getting the hang of it yet, and it kind of puts Donald in a life-threatening situation. Yeah, Donald almost dies in this episode. Episode 2, and we're already up to the deaths. Oh boy. I kind of think maybe he could have been saved a little better, or maybe it could have been played out a bit better, I guess. But I don't know. It was a cool episode, I guess. On the other side of the episode, Bree was trying to connect with Skylar, seeing that she's technically the first sister she gets to live with. And I found it very humorous, their little connections here and there. Though I really don't buy the fact that acting like a complete wild maniac is how people act on her planet. No. In the third episode, really all we got was footage of the pig that was in the episode because they were promoting a whole animal thing. I like the fact that they introduced like somewhat of a secondary villain. I kind of hope we see more of her and her pig because I think they were pretty funny. They worked pretty well, and I don't know, I think it'd be cool if there was a secondary villain along with the main villains. On the real side of the episode, though, I really like how dramatic the whole Skylar's gonna die thing is being played out, because Skylar was basically poisoned in this episode because they were trying to get her powers back. I really like the fact that Chase had absolutely no idea what to do because it's superpowered technology and he only knows bionic powers, and I'm liking that he's not understanding the superhero techniques. Episode 4 was kind of a okay episode. It was called The Superhero Code, and we were introduced to one of Kaz's brothers, Kyle. I guess the episode was alright. I mean, there really wasn't a need to hide the superhero thing. I mean, you could have just said you're bionic as well. I mean, I know it didn't come to them there, but, could have been better. Episode 5, Douglas was in it, and I love Douglas. I think he's one of the greatest characters in the show, right next to Victor Crane and Lab Rats. I like there was a little competition between Douglas and Chase when coming up with the hero costumes, and yeah, we got introduced to the hero costumes in this episode, so I really like that. As for the other side of the episode, it was your typical, like, I could be better than you at this with Bree and Skylar. I've seen it before. I like the other side better, because those suits were very funny, especially when they're, like, testing them out. I thought that was humorous. Episode 6, we got introduced to Principal Perry again. Apparently now she's going to be living in the same tower as the team. I guess that's alright. Perry's an alright character. I like that Chase doesn't know what to do when, like, everybody wants Skylar to be a leader because he's always been a leader. So it was nice to see that in the end he's going to be like, alright, we're all the leader now, yeah. So that episode was also alright. And then episode 7, The List, was probably one of the greatest episodes in the show so far, as we got the greatest cliffhanger ever, where we saw Roman and Riker's dad, and when the episode premiered, I saw his costume, and I didn't look at the face because I didn't want to see his face, but the episode was pretty cool. It had Roman and Riker in it, and I'm also very pissed at the episode. Alright, so they introduced a character called Crossbow. Alright, I don't care about that. They can introduce any new characters they want. I don't mind that, but Riker killed Crossbow. She died. And they brought her back to life, Kaz and Oliver. You can't do that! That character was dead. She had no right to come back. It's nothing against the person that played her or anything. I don't know. That bothers me. Yeah. I definitely like the ending, though. Best cliffhanger so far. I'm excited to see more, actually. So that's what I think about Lab Rats Elite Force. I think it's a great show so far. I can't wait to see more of it. I want to know what you people think now. What do you think of Lab Rats in general? Did you watch Lab Rats before Elite Force? Do you watch Elite Force now? And if so, do you like Elite Force? Do you agree or disagree with anything I said in this video? Tell me in the comments and I may take a look at it, maybe. Thanks for watching The Wild Review. I'm The Wild Reviewer and you just saw me review a thing.